So this is a laboratory. I thought it was rather unsettling when we spotted it as we roamed around town. But it seems science doesn't mesh well with me. They cause me too much discomfort. Let's head inside. Got it, boss. Hey, Rudo. Who are you? Rudo! Albus, I believe we have a strict policy on not allowing any outsiders into the lab, do we not? This isn't time for that. I have something important I need to discuss with you. Can it not wait until tomorrow? I am in the middle of putting together a presentation and report regarding Sarah's dismantlement. That's exactly what I'm trying to talk about with you. I want you to reconsider this matter. How desperately are you going to cling to that thing? Isn't it about time to let go, Albus? Regardless of what you do, the opinion of the board of directors is not going to change. Don't you have more important things to do? I didn't come here to change the opinion of any member of the board. I'm here to change yours. What? Being directly confronted now, my dude. What you gonna do? We want you to see Sarah's dismantlement. Here I was expecting you to say something else entirely. Rudo, these two people are manacrafters. This girl, Sylphine, she used a craft that allows people's consciousnesses to communicate directly. That craft gives her the ability to let people share memories directly with each other. Oh-ho? Do you understand what that means, Rudo? With this, we could all see into Sarah's memories and find out who she truly is. Don't you see? The question of Sarah's identity can finally be solved. I don't see, Albus. Let us say, hypothetically, that Sid Shevitz managed to use Rune as a model and implant her into Sarah. What purpose would it serve? For all we know, she may have inherited Rune's memories. How Sid accomplished it, I don't know, but it's no exaggeration to say that she may be Rune herself. Enough with the sorry excuses. And what would lead you to that conclusion in the first place? I miss the music. Regardless of the circumstances, there is no changing the fact that Sarah is a machine. It is nothing more than a prototype of a sister, an automaton, whose development consumed vast amounts of Shevitz Enterprises' own finances. The fact is that Sarah is an object. But still... if I may... Sylphine had been quiet the entire time, but she suddenly speaks out. Whether or not she is a machine has nothing to do with this. The issue at hand here is whether or not she is Sarah or Rune. Albus, Rudo, both of you have forgotten something crucial here. Something crucial? Yes. Which is what exactly? For starters, I'd like to propose my conclusion that she is Rune. How did you come to that conclusion? Simply based on what Sid had felt, there is no other possible conclusion. There is no way that outsiders like you could have known what my father was thinking. But I do. Through our dive with Albus, we were able to see Sid's way of life, his entire existence. We did get to see a lot of him. Sid did not just shut himself in the lab, losing his sanity to desperation. I'm sure he did so to research a way to give your little sister Rudo a second chance at life. He created a heart for her missing emotions. For his own daughter, that so-called hellspawn, he used the path down. Path down? I see. If there was a scientific equivalent to the path down, then that possibility would be very likely. I mean, he did flood the place with mana. So he was likely doing some sort of craft thing. And he may have come up with an equivalent of a path down. Transferring Rune's memories, that's exactly what the path down is. But wait, how'd he get the memories? How did I not notice this before? And if she has emotions, then this entire issue is not even something we should be discussing, regardless of whether she is Rune or Sarah. With dignity beaming from her eyes, Sylphine speaks straight to us in a clear voice. It is wrong to deprive her of her will, as a being in possession of a mind, heart, and spirit. Being a human or a machine has no bearing on the matter. I'm sure I will remember this very moment a long time from now. So when did this game start tackling sci-fi concepts? The moment when the sense of justice was able to penetrate regardless of any country's borders. Nonsense. Rudo, perhaps you've realized it. That Sid created Sarah to give Ruin the emotions that she never had. Absolute nonsense. If so, then this may be a great precedent that could affect just what our definition of a human is. And if that's the case, then this is no longer a problem confined to just us. Javits Enterprise has the right, no, the duty to confront this ethical issue straight on. Enough nonsense from you. Sarah does not have a heart. Fine, let's just pretend that were true. Even then, Sarah is able to completely cut its emotions off whenever it's ordered to do something. You can't say anything as a heart when it can simply just turn its emotions on and off as easily as flipping a switch. None of you understand. The kind of being my sister was, what was lurking behind her smile, her senseless, meaningless acts of evil. If Sarah has inherited Rune's memories and personality, then there couldn't be anything more dangerous. Still, if Sid succeeded in artificially creating motions using mana, then... Enough of this foolish speculation. Why don't you use those theories of yours to write a novel or something? A visual novel. Now, if you'll all excuse me, I have more pressing matters to attend to. Rudo! Confound it all, Rudo, we're not done here! Oh, it's a nice phrase. Rudo, if Rune was reborn with emotions, with a heart, then would you be able to accept her as your own little sister? It has already come to a point where there is no clear-cut, right or wrong answer. However, as someone who stands above everyone else, you have the right to make that decision. As if you know anything. Go, bye, Rudo. I mean, she does. Is this all? All that we could have done? The sun, it's rising. Holy shit, we've been at this for a while. Oh! Don't make that face, Sid. Your smile is so much more wonderful. What is this? You expect me to smile like this? Heck, how could you smile at a time like this? Who knows? I'm not sure either. I'm sure it's because I've just run out of tears to shed. Lean, I'm so sorry. Really. I've always been so caught up with work that not once did I ever do anything for the family. What brought this on all of a sudden? If only I had been there for Rudo and Rune, if only I'd spent more time with them, then all this would never have happened. Ditching my family for work? I am just like my damned dad. Don't say that, Sid. It's not like you to regret the things you've done. I don't want to see you all weak like this. I just don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do anymore. Damn it. Tell me, Sid. Rune's issues, were they some kind of sickness? I've always thought to myself, if that girl had a heart, would she have lived a more normal life? I can't say for sure. Maybe that really was her real, honest-to-goodness personality. And even if we managed to cure that flaw of Rune's, who knows what changed inside of her? I see. Like, does not having emotions really turn someone into that much of a mess? Does that mean we're born selfish and arrogant and messed up? And emotions are just a way to stop us, to keep us all in check? Heck, if I know. You're right. Hey, Sid. Could you tell me something? Do you hate Rune? Don't know.
Hate ain't the right word for it. It's just that I feel so helpless and miserable. Well, if you asked me if I hate her or not, if you asked me if I hated her or not, then I guess I might have. If it weren't for Rune, then our family'd still be whole, or so I think. That's a thought I can't really hold on to for long. So I'm just left with nothing but feeling miserable. That's all. And what about you?
At first, I didn't really feel anything. I was just in a daze. It was like my entire world was being engulfed in a mist, and I lost sensation in my entire body. I had no words, no feelings, no thoughts. I could barely consider myself conscious. Nothingness. That wasn't it. But as some time passed, I felt like I was attacked by a deep nausea, like I was going to throw up while I had a piercing headache. And it made me question why I was still even here at all. It made me hate the fact that I was even alive. I wanted to die. Just living was painful, so painful. I'm sure I just didn't even know what to think. But you know what? It's strange. Even after all that pain and hardship and suffering that Rune made me go through, the more I thought about it, the more I realized I just couldn't come to hate Rune. I just wanted to talk with her one last time. To ask her what thoughts she had as she lived. To know what was going through her mind when she put an end to that short life of hers. And to simply ask for her forgiveness for not trying to understand her. I'm so sorry, Rune. Sorry that you had someone like me for your mother.
What the heck? Why are you apologizing like this? You didn't do a single thing wrong.
Don't lie for me anymore, Sid.
Everything you've done was always for the kids. You're a damned fine mother.
No, the only one I've been thinking of was myself. After the Crowley's incident, Rune finally settled down. I thought to myself that everything would go well. I can finally have a normal family life, is what I thought. But I think I already realized it. That something was just slightly off. It was ever so subtle that discomfort could go away in the blink of an eye. But if I ever once put that feeling into words, if I even once admitted that feeling, then our days of peace and quiet would all just shatter and fall apart. That's what I thought. I was so scared. Which is why I subconsciously pretended not to notice. I was simply chasing after an illusion, nothing more. A stupid illusion of a perfect ideal family. In the end, the only person who I was thinking about was myself.
It's all in the past, Aline. You can only say that because all this happened. You've lived your entire life for your family's happiness. I won't believe you for a second if you said you were only ever thinking about yourself.
But the MRI results were right there. And more importantly, even Rudo told me about her. Rune's behaving strangely, he told me. And how did I respond? Be nicer to her. I spoke as if it weren't even my problem, and didn't listen to a word of what Rudo said. I was taking advantage of Rudo's kindness. He's got his act together. I can just leave it all to him, I thought. Because of how strong Rudo was, I left him to deal with Rune. All of his worries, he just bottled up inside of himself. Even though I'm sure it was painful for him. He did all that for my sake.
Aline,
I don't even know what to think. Please don't leave Rudo alone, Sid.
Yeah, I promise you.
Take care of yourself, and ease up that research of yours. Because once you're gone, Rudo really will be all alone.
Rudo will never be alone, I promise you that.
Aw, buddy. Then he made rune for him. What I can remember is an interest in the outside world, and the frustration with the fact that I couldn't escape this island, this birdcage called the Outer Pole. Frustration, I think this is what it was. I thought everything was just so unfair, but I didn't know how to express that feeling. Everyone around me had something, an objective that would drive them to continue their day-by-day lives, but me, I was completely empty. Oh, is this rune talking then? The very first time I'd experienced something akin to emotion was when, as a child, I saw a bird twitching on the side of the road. Perhaps it was attacked by another animal. Deep red blood seeped out of its neck and as it convulsed. And eventually the bird stopped moving altogether. Some kind of feeling from deep within my chest desperately attempted to emerge. The onlookers voiced their pity for the bird. I said it was funny. Everyone stared at me with the strangest looks. After seeing death right before my eyes, I wanted to see it again. I wanted to feel that feeling again. In hindsight, perhaps that really was pity. I wasn't even able to distinguish such a simple emotion. After observing the other people around me, I was able to mimic their own behavior. When I was a child, I was confined to the house. There were a few people who were always around. There were my mother and my brother. My mother had a weak constitution, but whenever she spoke, she was very energetic. Although her body was weak, her spirit was strong. She was a very warm person. I didn't know how to respond to that warmth of hers. There was nothing stranger and more alien to me than her unconditional love. I couldn't even begin to comprehend it. My brother, even though he spoke gently, he always had a scowl on his face. And it was well deserved, because I was constantly causing him nothing but grief. Despite all that, he still worked hard every single day at Jevit's Enterprise. Even though no one expected anything of him, he continued to diligently toil away in the shadow of his little sister. He was constantly anxious, being compared to his father by everyone around him. Always afraid of having to succeed his father, Sid Jevitz, who was a multi-talented one-in-a-million prodigy. The barrier he had to scale reached all the way to the heavens. It was impossible. Rudo himself knew this, and still chose to try and surmount it. He constantly aimed for the summit, not even knowing if he could ever make it to the top. I remember that upon seeing that brother of mine, within me rose a powerful desire to destroy it all. In hindsight, perhaps I looked up to him, for his persistence and grit to take on even the toughest challenges all by himself. All I could ever do was to mimic others. I was frantically trying to reconstruct a present, while on the other hand, my brother was fervent and single-minded in forging a path forward. I was just so jealous of that. Looking back on all this, there really is just a hair's breadth of a difference between all kinds of emotions. I actually was driven by these strange alien things called emotions after all. But I am the one who killed my mother, and I am the one who ruined my father, and I am the one who caused my brother to suffer. Dad, why did you bring me back to this world? Did you bring me back here just so I could wallow in despair? Is this all my atonement? If it had been slightly different, then I wouldn't have caused all these people to experience such pain and suffering. I've done so many things I could never take back. I've committed so many wrongs that even my death could not hope to absolve. I truly was a being that should never have been. But then, what am I? Is the man I consider my father truly Sid Jevitz? Was the person who I had always stared emptily at truly my brother Rudo? Are my memories Rune's memories? Rune is someone who should never have been born. But then that means I should never have been born. Am I Sarah? If I am, then that means I am only borrowing these memories from Rune. And if that's the case, then just what exactly is Sarah? Nothing makes sense anymore, but there is one thing I know. I don't want to cause Rudo any more trouble. If he truly does find my very existence contemptuous, then I would gladly die? Be destroyed. What? So what am I really? If only I could have seen Miss Selphine and Miss Rotona once more. I wanted to tell them goodbye.
Sarah?
Yes?
Your dismantlement will be determined by a collective vote tomorrow. Return to Lab 9 and stand by there for the remainder of today. Head straight to Lab 9. I've already informed Vothel and the others. Follow their orders.
Understood. Master Rudo? Thank you for everything.
I believe I ordered you to switch off your emotions.
I couldn't. I've tried so many times, but it seems I don't have the access rights to do so.
If you couldn't do so, then why did you still follow with my order? How could you abide by my illogical, preposterous orders without a single word of complaint?
'Cause that is what you desired of me.
Why? Why are you smiling?
'Cause I'm happy.
What?
I've always been taking things away from you, but now I can finally give you something that you've always wanted.
Something I've always wanted.
The possibility of me becoming Rune will cease to exist. I thought about just running away so many times. I thought about my death, my destruction. But if I disobeyed your orders, then you would end up shouldering the responsibility for my actions. Finally, the time has come that I am no longer needed.
If you have emotions, do you not feel fear? Aren't you afraid?
I am afraid, very much so. So afraid that I just want to run away this very minute. But what I fear even more is that my existence would only serve to cause you even more pain.
What?
I know that you're really a nice, kind person. You were always watching out for your little sister. I'm sure that back then she didn't realize just how dearly you thought of her. But now, I'm sure she can understand.
Just how much of Rune's memories have been restored inside you?
I do not know. As time passes, fragments of the memories are slowly coming back to me. But as for whether those are truly my memories, there's no way for me to tell.
What in the world are you?
I don't know anymore. Not a single thing. But the one thing I do know. Rudo, I'm just a girl that admires you as my brother. But I don't even know what that means.
Damn it. Rudo will never be alone, I promise you that. Damn it. Dad, you son of a bitch. Rune.
Will you call me Rune? Is it okay? Is it okay if I could call you brother again?
Do whatever you want.
You mean it?
Ugh.
Brother, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything.
Rudo, there's a formula I've never once calculated right before my eyes. I don't think my processing could ever keep up with it. I think this is the source of the noise that's always been deep inside my heart. The emotions behind my destructive tendencies from before. My feelings for you as my brother. Why didn't I notice it sooner? This equation is so vast I could just break down. Yet it's so exasperatingly simple. What do people call this feeling? At first, I wished that I'd never given birth to Rune. I wished that I'd never left my hometown, moved to Cadia, and worked at Jevitz. I wished that I'd never met you, that I should have just stayed and took over the family business. I wished that I'd never have anything to do with the name Jevitz, that a life like that would have been much better. But you know, that's impossible. I'm so glad I have you, and Rudo, and Rune. I love you all so madly from the bottom of my heart, so just thinking about it is depressing. A life without that girl? I couldn't possibly imagine that, even if I wouldn't end up like this. Aline, we've had our ups and downs, but I'm so glad I met you. I'm so glad I gave birth to Rudo. And even though the world may never forgive us for it, I am so glad I gave birth to Rune. I'm so glad to have lived. Aline, I love you, Sid. It was a fun life. Aline, everything's in your hands now.
Oh boy! Oh, and there come the emotions, eh?